December nights carry a magic of their own, but what if that magic turns sinister? In tonight's chilling tale, we follow a couple whose winter getaway spirals into a nightmare they'll never escape. Grab your blanket, dim the lights, and prepare for The Last Ride Home, a story that will chill you to the bone. December in New England had its own personality. Crisp air that burned your lungs, snow that blanketed the ground so thick it silenced the world, and nights that crept in before you were ready. For Matt and Claire, it was the perfect time for their annual tradition, a trip to her parents' old farmhouse for a weekend of family, laughter, and nostalgia. This year, the weather wasn't cooperating. A storm had rolled in fast and heavy, cutting off power in much of the region. The farmhouse was untouched, a haven in the middle of nowhere. But the journey to get there was another story. "We should have left earlier," Claire muttered, staring out at the white abyss through the windshield. The car's wipers fought a losing battle against the snow. Matt gripped the wheel tighter, his knuckles white. "The roads weren't bad when we started. No use looking back now." The old sedan groaned as it climbed the winding road toward the farmhouse. On either side, the trees stood like skeletal sentinels, their branches heavy with snow. The GPS had given up miles ago, and Claire was navigating by memory, a memory that wasn't perfect. "It's just up ahead," she said, though her voice lacked certainty. Matt glanced at her. "You sure?" Claire hesitated. "I think so. We've only been coming here for 10 years. She gave a nervous laugh that didn't quite land. Suddenly, the car lurched to the side as the back tire hit a patch of ice. Matt cursed, fighting the wheel, but the car skidded sideways and came to rest at an awkward angle on the shoulder. "Damn it!" Matt exclaimed, slamming the dashboard. He shifted into park and killed the engine. "Is it bad?" Claire asked. "It's not great," Matt said, already unbuckling. "Let me check." He stepped out into the storm, the wind biting through his jacket. The snow was deeper than he'd thought, swallowing his boots with each step. The back tire was completely flat and the spare in the trunk. Well, Matt knew better than to hope. It had been bad for months. Claire rolled down her window slightly. "How bad?" "Flat as a pancake," he called back. "We're not driving out of here." "So what do we do?" Matt looked around, squinting against the snow. The headlights illuminated only the immediate area, the woods pressing in on all sides. "We walk," he said. "The farmhouse isn't far, half a mile maybe. We'll call for a tow from there." Claire's hesitation was brief. Staying in the car wasn't an option. She bundled up, and together they set off into the storm, following the faint impression of the road. The snow absorbed every sound, leaving only the crunch of their boots and the distant moan of the wind. Claire's breath formed clouds in front of her face, and she clung to Matt's arm, more for reassurance than balance. "I don't remember it being this far," she said, her voice muffled by her scarf. Matt didn't answer immediately. He, too, was starting to feel the unease. They'd been walking for what felt like ages, and there was no sign of the farmhouse. The storm had turned the world into a monochrome maze, and every tree looked the same. "We'll find it," he said, more to himself than to her. A faint light appeared ahead, flickering through the snow like a will-o'-the-wisp. "See?" Matt said, relief flooding his voice. "That's got to be it." They quickened their pace, the light growing brighter. But as they drew closer, the outline of the farmhouse never materialized. Instead, they found themselves standing before an old gas station, its single bulb swinging above a boarded-up entrance. The light buzzed faintly, giving off a sickly yellow hue. "This can't be right," Claire said, pulling Matt to a stop. "There's no gas station near my parents' house." Matt frowned. "Maybe we took a wrong turn." "On a straight road?" she shot back. Before he could respond, the bulb above them sputtered and went out, plunging them into darkness. The cold was sharper now, digging into their skin like needles. Claire's teeth chattered as she clung to Matt's arm. He was about to suggest they keep moving when they heard it. The unmistakable sound of footsteps crunching through the snow. They froze, listening. The steps were deliberate, unhurried, and coming from somewhere behind them. "Who's there?" Matt called, his voice cutting through the storm. No answer. The steps stopped, and for a moment, the world was silent again. Then came the voice, low and gravelly with a mocking edge. "Lost, are we?" Matt turned, shielding Claire behind him. He could see nothing in the swirling snow. "Stay back," he warned. The voice chuckled, the sound echoing unnaturally. "Oh, I'm not the one who's out of place here." "What do you want?" Claire shouted. The snow seemed to whisper around them, carrying the reply. "Just a little company on this cold December night." Panic set in as they stumbled away from the gas station back into the woods. Matt gripped Claire's hand tightly, their breaths coming in quick gasps. The voice followed them, always just out of sight, taunting them with riddles and cryptic laughter. "You'll never make it," it said. "Not together." The words dug into Claire's mind, her fear sharpening into something darker. "Matt," she said, her voice trembling. What if it's right? What if we're not supposed to be together?" Matt stopped, turning to face her. "Don't say that. Don't let it get to you." But she pulled away, her eyes wide with doubt. "Why do you know the way better than I do? Why don't you seem as lost as I am?" Matt stared at her, the accusation hitting him like a slap. Before he could respond, the voice returned, closer now. "Secrets, secrets. Everyone has them." They pressed on in tense silence, the storm clawing at them with icy fingers. Time felt elastic. Minutes stretched into hours. Or maybe it was the other way around. Just when Claire thought she couldn't take another step, the faint outline of the farmhouse appeared through the snow. "There!" Matt shouted, relief breaking his voice. But Claire hesitated. Her doubts had festered, grown into something tangible. "How do I know it's really you?" she asked, her voice barely audible over the storm. Matt grabbed her shoulders, forcing her to look at him. "Because I'm here. I've always been here." The door to the farmhouse creaked open, the warm glow of the fire spilling out. But as they stepped inside, they found no warmth, no comfort, only a room full of shadows, each one watching. "Welcome home," the voice said, now impossibly close. The door slammed shut behind them. The next morning, the farmhouse stood silent and empty, snow covering the steps where Matt and Claire had once stood. Of them, there was no sign. Only the storm remembered their passing. What would you do if the person you trusted most wasn't who you thought they were? Tonight's story reminds us that some secrets are better left buried. If you enjoyed this tale, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more haunting stories every week. Until next time, stay safe and beware the roads less traveled.